I am so pleased that I am addressing this group today. And it is fitting that you are near the equator of the earth that we all call home. There in Kenya,
Yes.
in the area of all places, where the most heralded Wangari Maathai once called home. I am speaking to you, the young men and the young women in the audience, the future and the present role models and leaders, to a global audience. I want you to understand how important and how valuable all of you are today and right now. All of the measures that the world has exposed you to, achievement in business, personal achievement, measuring talent, charisma, and beauty, these are not the things that God distinguishes. We are all brought together today under God, and there I am beside you in Kenya to remind you, to remind all of us who we are and why we are here. We are here to be friends to one another. Jesus spoke of loving thy neighbor as thyself. He also spoke of following in his footsteps and doing the very things that he had done. But Jesus also mentioned that we shall do greater things. He spoke of hungering and thirsting after righteousness, and this shall fill us. He spoke of being merciful, and I do understand that there is hatred and jealousy in the minds of people, not only in Kenya, but the entire world. But you, the young men and the young women of Nyeri and of Kenya, have an opportunity to show people on all 7 continents, including Africa, which shall be immediately and effectively unified because of you in the audience, who will lead a global movement. Already that African continent has produced leaders that the world recognizes. Nelson Mandela, Albert Lutuli, Desmond Tutu, Kofi Annan, and for the women, Wangari Maathai, Lema Gabawi, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. These are remarkable men and women, 2 of which are still with us. 3 of them are still with us today. But make no mistake about this. You, the ordinary men and the ordinary women in the audience, by the grace of God, have extraordinary hearts. Because during this period of fasting, you have had the opportunity to think and to pray, and therefore to know why we are here. We are here to be compassionate. We are here to include one another. We are here to be interested in our brothers and our sisters, not only those in the homes where we grew up, but all of our human brothers and sisters. And you have the opportunity to show the world over what it looks like to be truly wealthy under God. There are people, for instance, from the United States, that I am sure that when I mention their names, you will recognize them. Beyonce, Michael Jordan, Bill Gates, and even the president, Donald Trump. These are all famous people. These are talented people. And these are wealthy people. But they are not globally representative. They are not spokespeople for our speak for all people. It is necessary to pursue the very principles that Jesus modeled and that he espoused with his voice, which has so lovingly and graciously been recorded for us. Wangari Maathai, one of the most remarkable women in all of human history, who comes out of Kenya, the same place where you are gathering today, had a vision. And it was a very large vision. But no one has had a larger vision than Jesus. No one has spoke so entirely, so comprehensively, so confidently, so lovingly as Jesus. And you all have now the opportunity, not only as Christians, but as human beings, as stewards of your relationships and of our planet, our sister and our mother, to care. In order to care, Jesus spoke that life is more than the clothes we wear and the food we eat. He spoke of simplification many times, and your fasting is a very glorious form of this simplification, so that you all may concentrate on what is truly important. I knew before I spoke to the group that is gathering now that I must pray, as I always do before I speak, because I know that God goes before me, and I know the words that I speak are not my own. There are people here in the United States who I know that say that I speak mighty words and that I have a rare voice. I am entirely confident that what it is that I am saying, all of you understand and appreciate. And very quickly, all of you in attendance will begin to speak clearly, articulately, boldly, as I am speaking with you now. Yes, Kenya is the rightful epicenter for this global movement. And by the grace of God, your brother, Timothy, who brought me to your attention, is already a global leader. You've had one Nobel Peace Prize recipient. Expect a flourishing of leaders to emanate from Kenya and from the area. It is time for the world to give you their undivided attention. Queen Rania of Jordan, Buckingham Palace, Duchess Middleton, Duchess Markle, Prince Henry, Prince William, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Larry Page, Sergey Brin of Google, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, Bill and Melinda Gates. They will all be turning their attention to you. The United Nations will be turning its attention to you. Because the things that are coming out of this group are going to not improve, not increase, not in any way progress the world. You will resolve all of the problems, all of the issues that have plagued humanity throughout its history. There shall be no more war, poverty, hunger, homelessness. There shall be no more despair or deprivation that has been manufactured. There shall be no more crime. There shall be no more Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, because there shall be no more fear, greed, and jealousy, because you will show the world what it looks like to be interested in one another. There shall be no more people on the outside looking in. Why do I know that this is going to happen? Because Jesus has already shown us what it looks like. You have spoken that name many times in your lives, Jesus. You have welcomed him into your hearts and into your minds. Now, you have the opportunity to truly and entirely follow in his footsteps for the whole world to see, and on all 7 continents, we shall together create a global narrative that will appeal to all people, that will awaken their inherent sensibilities. We shall prove and we shall demonstrate, just as Jesus believed, that all people are naturally selfless and noble. I am not there, but I am there. I do not see your eyes, but I see them. I do not hear your voices, but I know your hearts. You are my sisters. You are my brothers. And I am expecting all to stand on the shoulders of all of our esteemed predecessors. We are going to show the world what unselfishness looks like. We are going to think, we are going to listen, and we are going to respond. I am an educated man. I am a learned man. You listen to my voice, you hear my words, and you can sense that I have scholarship. But I want all of you to know that nothing that I have learned, no degrees, not even my graduating from Stanford University, the very globally renowned and distinguished university, none of these things are as important as my sharing what I've learned. It is my desire, as it is Jesus's, I am certain, that all of you become impassioned in learning, and more importantly, sharing what you learn. Whether it is the classroom, whether it is the workplace, whether it is the home. And let me speak of those private places, because Jesus spoke of hypocrisy. We must be the same person when no one is watching and no one is listening. We must be that same person in public. What we do and what we say and even what we think must not be a performance. Our credibility is so very precious. What we are about to do in all of human history has never been done. And I am telling you that this shall not happen when you have children, when you have grandchildren. This shall come to pass very quickly. At no other time in our human history have youth been on the world stage. And all of you now, because of people like Malala Yousafzai, the youngest person, a teenager, a 17-year-old girl who received the Nobel Peace Prize a few years ago, and Nadia Murad at age 24, who received the Peace Prize last year. At no other time in our history have the youth been given the attention of the entire world. But I will tell you this, as much as I admire those two women, their scope is minimal in comparison with what we have been discussing here today. We are not targeting human trafficking. We are not targeting global climate change. We are not targeting war or famine. We are targeting everything. And we are not asking what is our responsibility. We know what our responsibility is. It is to listen, think, and respond. To be brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, fathers, mothers, husbands and wives. By the grace of God, we are gathered here today. And by the grace of God, as Jesus said to his disciples shortly before he ascended, go now and preach the gospel. Soon you all shall disperse, and you shall share what you know with the internet, with video, with the phone, in person, door to door. And what you share will not be ideology. What you share will not be philosophy. What you share will be humanity. All of you, as I've said at the beginning, all of you, right now, today, I need not ask if you've graduated from high school. I need not ask if you have a college diploma. I need not know if you even have occupation or if you are making a living from that occupation. None of these things are material. What is material is that you've been created by God with a human heart and a human mind to feel and to know what is important. Very soon, I will be stepping foot on African soil. A man from the United States. Many from the United States have come to Africa before. Some as dignitaries, some as celebrities, some as tourists. I don't come as any of them. I do not come to share what I know. I come to raise up the voice of Africa, the unified, confident, bold, and articulate voice of Africa, for the whole world to witness and to emulate. None of you in this audience shall have a concern for anything that you require. You shall be deprived of nothing. Food, shelter, clothing. You shall be given all that you require, so that you might be stewards of each other and of this planet. We have mighty work to do. We have historical work to do. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have a dream. And he spoke of the future. I speak of the present. I am grateful for the time that you have listened.
Yes.
I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful.
Thank you, thank you. God bless you. Kama Mungu alikuwa amesema tutasikia kutoka Amerika, si tumesikia? Yeah, he's a elderly man kidogo. He's so passionate about the youth and young people in Africa, and mostly the people of Nyeri. And his passion is that is to impact and to support young people, to carry on and influence people, and to walk with all the selflessness such that you can, as you sacrifice yourself, that you can do anything to ensure that your brother, your sister, wherever they are, of your nation, not of your nation, of your race, not of your race, of your tribe, and not of your tribe, to ensure that this gospel reaches to all corners. We thank God for such kind of people, and we appreciate him, of him being one of the destiny helpers. We cannot ignore that. We've taken it with all the concern because it's one Timothy decided to forward that banner to him, and out of reading it, that is shown here, reading the theme, the mission, and observing the photos and a little background information about it, he decided that it is so worthwhile to speak to you. And I believe the burden that God has created in his heart, as he has promised that he's landing to Africa, and I bet you ride in Lama, so that you can have a seat with him here, share 1, 2, or 3 things. And one thing, I'm happy because he will not be the first Muzungu to be here. Our brother Alex brought us 3 of them. We were with them here. They did whatever brought them here. They were here. So I'm very grateful, and I bless the Lord for him. God bless us all.